I
Hey, you guys, we apologize. We had a little bit of a minor technical difficulty here. You know how it is with Zoom and technology. Um, Odie and I were just in the middle of her discussing why she got involved in writing and why she's so passionate about it. And we were just talking about how, how writing is overlooked as a profession and how it's not easy at times to really find people that can connect and resonate with that kind of environment itself.
yeah. So a lot of people don't believe that there is much value in creating and yeah, like what you said, like content creation and stuff. And I know that it's a valid point because you don't earn at the start. And I promised myself that I don't ever want money to affect my creativity, and I will
Right.
write for free. And I had been. I mean, the blog is not generating any income for me, my website, and I decided not to put ads on it. And I would just put my blogs there, and it's just something. It's practice. It's for me to be comfortable in putting my work out there, and that's the purpose of the website. So if if money comes in the conversation and someone who's writing or creating content is now looking for that compensation, then there are jobs out there. Like I do have some writing jobs, and um it comes with, I mean, I can do the writing jobs because I have practiced so much not getting paid.
Right.
Like I'm happy to get paid, but also I'm happy to just submit my work, to spend time writing something that I'm really interested about and submit it to a magazine. And maybe I don't get paid for it, and maybe I do. Um, and to me, this takes off the pressure from my creativity and my creative life, because I don't expect it to pay for rent. I don't expect it to pay for my food and all of my life expenses. So it is fun, but it is more than a hobby. It's something that I really spend my time on, and even honestly, it has sacrificed my social life. It has gotten to that point, because I just really love being
You
here or
love
being
it.
great. I love it so much that I would spend time by myself reading or writing and checking out books online, like listening to podcasts and interviews of authors. And I love this so much, but I also needed to be aware that I need to be with people and I need to hang out. I need to go out and talk and communicate and interact. Um, and yeah, I had to be careful around that.
Yeah, it's I'm the same way. Like I get involved in a lot of the podcasting, motivational speaking.
Mm,
And for me, I'm always, either speaking online or speaking, face to face in front of a crowd of college students or school students or nonprofits, and you get busy, and sometimes people want to hang out with you, and I'm like, oh, I have this commitment already set, and it's something I enjoy, but I still try to make time for family and for friends if I can.
of course, we need them. We need them, right? And it always feels good, like when I call my family at home, or right now, I'm really trying my best or making an effort in texting friends and telling them, hey, do you want to get lunch together? Because I wasn't like this. But when I moved here to Vietnam, and I got so lonely. The first few months were so difficult. I really struggled with interactions. I didn't have my family. The friend who was here eventually left for Canada.
Uh,
So I was literally alone, and had to start from scratch. So everybody that I know here are either from a Facebook group, of teachers or a Facebook group of Filipinos and some apps and then their connections, like their friends.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've met so many wonderful people, either online or face to face. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing is the things that open doors for you, especially as a writer for you, are those people that you meet, those networks that you build. It's about connecting, and it's not about just what you know, it's who you know that gets you those opportunities.
Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. I'll give you an example. So I met this journalist in the Philippines, and we met through a friend, and then we were indoor climbing, like in a climbing gym. And I knew she was a journalist. I knew that she was known and worked for, these networks in the Philippines. But we never got into a conversation about writing because at that time I wasn't really writing so much. I was just working. And she was working for like she was working on books and editing and stuff. And so we were just climbing, right? Um, and then we stopped connecting because I left the Philippines and I we just separated paths.
Went different ways, separate
Yeah, we
ways.
went different ways. And then this year, I mean, literally like a few weeks ago, because she has seen that I'm making like content on my Instagram and Facebook about writing and about books. She contacted me and she gave me this wonderful opportunity to write and work with her for a book for the biggest franchise of French fries in the Philippines.
Oh,
And
okay.
this would only happen because I kept putting out my work there, and also because we've known each other from years back. And just like what you said, um, if you make these really good connections with people, and keep those relationships positive, and you don't burn bridges. With
Right.
these, of course, it has to be a positive connection, right?
Right.
Um, then you never know. You never know.
Yeah, it's and with that, speaking about connections and you know building building relationships, mentoring. So you're a mentee and you mentor writers for Middle Tennessee State University, right? So how did you get involved with that?
Actually, it is the writing program that I was telling you about, and it is, and I am a mentee, and my mentor is an American journalist and author.
Oh, that's
So he's
awesome.
mentoring me, and it's a writing program that I applied for. Um, I applied for a scholarship, and they granted me partial scholarship, and they made me choose between
Awesome.
poetry and essays. Because I submitted a form where you have to make, write a lot of stuff about yourself and your plans and goals. And I chose essays because that's what I want my book to be, the next book to be. And they matched me with Jennifer Chesak, who is, she recently published her book. I'll share with you the link to her book if one of your, some of your friends are
Yeah.
interested. And she's been wonderful. She has critiqued my work and read my work, which is tough. It's always tough. Um, but it's great because you learn more than learning in a classroom and listening to theory. Getting someone look at your work and say, okay, you have to do this. This is what you need to do to make this a better read for for your reader. It's that's I think that's the best way to learn, to write and then get feedback right away from someone who has obviously more writing experience, because she's written for HuffPost, all
Wow.
these yeah, like big journals.
Major companies.
Yes, yes, major publications there. And so yeah, it's been a wonderful experience. And at the moment, I'm waiting for her to return the second writing piece that I submitted to her. Maybe she'll send it to me today or tomorrow. We'll see.
Now you mentioned your mentee, but at the beginning of the podcast when we started, you showed glimpses of you yourself can be a mentor. Would you ever consider that yourself to be a mentor to, I guess, a pupil, like a future writer?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Also last week, it's funny that you're asking all of these questions that I feel are so relevant and just recently happened. Because last week I was inspired and just looking at some writing works and people that I really look up to, and I thought, I want to be a coach. I would like to connect with people who are interested in starting a writing, at least in the writing path. Um, and be that person who tells them that they can do it. Because sometimes we just need one,
Yes,
sometimes
that
we
is
just
true.
need one person, and that's gonna change everything for us. And if I'm given the opportunity, then I would like to be that person for them.
That
Because
that's
I know how limiting it feels
yeah.
not to have someone tell you that you can do it. So
Yeah, it's never easy, but when you have that one person that just believes in you no matter what, it makes
yeah.
a whole lot of a difference.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's so true. So true. I have I've had this sort of a life coach slash mentor that I've been talking to since like February, and it has changed my life so much. I can't even say. I go to her for life decisions, all of the loneliness of being by myself here, not really having these deep connections. She knows about it, and she's given me ideas on how I can fix that. It's been wonderful. So having a mentor, having a coach is life changing.
That is awesome, and I'm glad you have that mentor to be by your side in this journey of just learning how to be a better and proficient writer. And it seems like you're on the right path.
Or do you have one yourself? Is there someone that you look up to and
A
talk to?
mentor?
Yeah.
I do. I had a mentor that I used to work with. I've been friends with him for 6 years, but I ended up working for him eventually. He's
Wow.
like the top of the mentoring program that I'm in. So I always look up to him, and he would always have meetings with me about how to be a better mentor to the
Mm,
kids. And the most important thing is you listen to what the kids are telling you. Um,
oh yeah.
keep an ear open, ask questions, no matter what it is. Ask them. If they ask you like, "I'm having a bad day. Why are you having a bad day?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you feeling like this? Um, what's going on at home?" Just keep asking questions, and eventually it's like a puzzle. Eventually it'll all come together, and you'll finally find what that problem is, and then then you can, with that, you can build a solution, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Asking questions, it makes them feel heard, right? Because no one asks them these things. I think like if an adult or a teacher or someone you look up to asks you about how your day was, it feels good. It feels good for them. So it gives them the opportunity to open up and tell them or tell you about their emotions and what they're going through.
And eventually they'll learn to open up and trust you enough to where they'll just talk to you about anything and everything. Like I had kids that used to follow me when I used to work at the school I used to work at. They'd follow me everywhere. And I mean, when I say everywhere, I'd be walking around and they'll be right behind me, like out of class, skipping class. And I'm like, "Why are you out of class?" He's like, "Well, I just wanted to hang out with you, Mr. David." I'm like, "Go back to class.
Oh, that is so
Go back to
sweet.
class. Not right now. Go back to class. I'll see you later." Like,
Mm,
do I have to? I'm like, "Yeah, you have to. Class is important. You can't skip class because of me. If you want to be successful, you have to show up to class. And if you don't want to show up to class, at least do it for me. Show up to class for me,
mm,
okay? If you care enough to see me, show up to class."
Mm,
You know,
yeah. They need to show up to class.
because
I mean, I'm a teacher, so they need to show up to my class. They can't be hanging out with a mentor during my class time.
right, and I'm like, if you care to see me, you have to do what you have to do, and put in the effort, But some of those kids, when they see somebody positive in their life, and they tell them, hey, you got to get to class, or you got to do this for your future, it's the best for you. They'll do it. They'll they'll build up enough courage to where they'll do everything positive.
Yeah,
So that's one thing about having a mentor. The good thing about it.
I agree. I agree. I think everyone should seek someone. It doesn't have to be a coach or a therapist or a mentor. It can be
Anyone, relative, friend.
friend. Yeah, a friend who has had more experience and gives sound advice. It can be a brother or someone from church or yeah, someone from school or work, like a boss. And I think that these are relationships that we should really take care of.
Right,
You nurture these relationships. Like for me, for my coach, I am so generous with give telling her how much I appreciate her, and how much she has helped me. Like if I can do that for her every week, I would, and I try to, um, so she can see the value that she's bringing into my life and how much she has changed, my life. Like, and it's not only like she's giving me advice and I'm doing it, but really taking her advice into my, the daily small decisions that I do.
right.
And it's like hearing her voice whenever I'm faced with a struggle or I'm in trouble. Um, so these are relationships that we should protect and
Cherish.
care for and cherish. Yeah, it's important.
That is that is fantastic, and like it's that's the best thing. That's the best thing about being able to have someone is you just have you can just do just about anything you set your mind to, as long as you have somebody encouraging your life.
I agree. I believe that.
So I want to kind of switch over to culture. So what are some of the differences and similarities you see in culture between the Philippines and then here? Like, do you see anything different? Do you see anything similar that because you've traveled to the US before. So have you seen anything different or anything kind of similar to both countries?
Yeah, so similarity would be, um they're very family oriented too. They like being with family. A lot of the holidays that they celebrate here are celebrated around family. And in fact, the biggest holiday called Tet Holiday, which happens around the Lunar New Year, in the Chinese calendar, they don't work for 2 weeks. So that's the longest
Is that
non-working
like
holiday
is that
here.
like Christmas over there?
Yes, it's like Christmas because they don't really celebrate Christmas or
Okay.
Thanksgiving here. But they have that holiday where everybody, literally everybody goes to their hometown, sees their grandparents, spends time with a cousin for 2 weeks, cooks together. They have meals together, and the businesses close during this
Nice.
time. And that's how important that holiday is for them. And for us in the Philippines, it's Christmas and New Year. So that time of the year where everybody goes home, whether the family member is based outside the Philippines, but they go home so they can share Christmas Eve meal. We call it Noche Buena. It's a Spanish term.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it's like where I'm from in Puerto Rico. We call Noche Buena. We celebrate over there too.
yeah. So we have Noche Buena and then Medianoche for New Year.
Oh
So
yeah,
the
same
yeah,
here.
before midnight. So these are two important holidays for us. That's why I'm going home in December for the holidays to be with my family. Because last year I didn't get to go home, and that was the loneliest holiday.
Mhm.
I was so sad. I went to the mountains. I went to the north of Vietnam and went cycling there. I rented the bicycle. Um because I had nothing to do. I didn't, I didn't want to celebrate with anyone. So I just went by myself. So no more spending Christmas alone, I hope.
Hey, if you're able to spend time with family, definitely do so because
Yeah.
cherish that time when you can.
Especially the parents are getting older.
Yeah.
So,
Luckily, my parents are literally my neighbors. We live like right next to each other.
oh, that's sweet. So you can visit them anytime
Yeah, I could just walk a few feet and I'm already there at their house.
and get food from their fridge.
Yeah. Or they'll come to me and I'll cook for them too.
Oh, well, that's an advantage for them.
Yeah,
I mean, because they can see you often. So it's,
I can cook and I can cook too. So that's a plus.
yeah.
So to kind of wrap up this whole podcast, what kind of advice would you give someone who's looking to venture into writing?
So I've received messages from friends and readers who tell me that I want to write too, but I don't know where to start. And what I always tell them are two things. So number one, start journaling if you still haven't. And even if it's not a journal, just have a notebook and write down pen and paper. Write down your thoughts, write down how you feel about your day. Even if it's like, negative thoughts or whatever, just write them down. Because you have to train yourself in writing down and seeing what you've written on paper, because these are two very different things. And number two, if you can create a blog, it's free. There are so many free websites out there. And it's risk free. You don't need to spend any money. Try making a blog about something that you're interested about. If you're interested about food, you're interested about mentors, like people who inspire you, interview them and write about them for 10 sentences. These are really easy steps. They're not intimidating as a book or, you know, um, writing an essay, but just start small until you get comfortable with the feeling of writing down your thoughts and publishing your work and letting other people read it. Because I know there's a lot of shame and fear in making your work available for people to see, but there's nothing to be afraid of. Um, but just follow those two things and keep doing it and see where it takes you.
That is some really great advice, and I appreciate you for sharing that and your knowledge on the podcast. It was wonderful.
Thanks, David. I had a great time.
Thank you. And
It
if,
was a
if
fun conversation.
yeah, it was fun. I definitely enjoyed it, and it was definitely insightful and very informative.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad we touched on different topics as well. I like that.
Yeah, which is good. Having some variety. It's always good.
That's true.
Well, thank you guys for listening to this podcast. If you're looking to, I guess, looking for this episode, it'll be on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and every other major podcasting outlet out there. Odie, thank you so much for being on today.
Thanks, David. I look forward to listening to this episode and sharing it with my friends. And thank you for great questions that you asked. Thank you for the conversation.
You're welcome and thank you. And until next time, everyone, take care.